for optimal health, it's pretty hard to make a case that vegetarian diet is optimal. Now, some of the research that's floating around out there will tell you different. In fact, I just saw a headline today that got me lit up. It was, it was about stroke risk in relation to saturated fat.
It's a Harvard study. I'm about to do a rant about it. So
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Harvard study, and yeah, they made the point of, if you're going to choose fats, get it from vegetable sources, which it's so funny they say that, because then they can make the argument for vegetable oils, and they said from vegetable sources. I don't know why I'm talking about Elmer Fudd. Sources with having the vegetable sources. But yeah, they want to include vegetable oils in there, and of course avocado oil, olive oil, and things like that. But vegetable sources, it's code for, we don't want you to eat meat.
Yeah, and that is obviously coming up a lot more in the media lately. But and you know, this other stuff with the studies that say that vegetable oil can lower cholesterol, but then we're back to your deal about how I told you one of the other ways I came to know your work was cholesterol clarity. And do we even need to worry about cholesterol? And the answer is probably no. But anyway, we probably more than covered what we covered before, and some new stuff, did we?
We did get into a lot of new things. That's why I don't mind redoing some podcasts. So let me set up what you're about to see, you guys. So Cheryl and I had a wonderful conversation on Instagram Live, and so we're going to show you the rest of that now. Still another half hour plus of content, but I think we got into the quality of food, why you are a clean keto person. Why don't you set it up a little bit about why you choose clean keto and why dirty keto you think could be a slippery slope and why it might be challenging. What are your thoughts on why you choose clean keto?
Yeah, well, first, before I say why I personally do that, I just want to say that I think however people get to making this change, I'm happy about it. I'm all for it. And plenty of people joke that they do dirty keto and that's all they can do. And I'm like, I'm like, thank goodness, because you're still healthier. So
any keto is better than no keto.
Exactly. And I got this comment recently, a very mean comment actually, about, talking about how I always say, this is just how I do it. It's not the only way to do it. But the reason I do it is because of all the health problems in my family's past and my personal health history and all the cancer that's in my family. Yeah. I choose to eat the way that I'm eating because I've identified that as a strong why for me. Like, I want to be around for grandchildren and I want to try to help more people while I can. And I can only do that if I'm healthy and cancer free. So that's why I do an extended fast every single month. So I just want to always make it crystal clear that there are many ways to be healthy and many ways to do keto and all of that. But those are the reasons why I choose clean keto. And I certainly think for most people over time, the more whole foods based you can be, the better, because a lot of these things, especially now, because we've gotten such a proliferation of quote unquote keto foods, but they're still, it's still the same. Like, so for example, when I was eating a whole foods based diet and trying to maintain a decent weight and stuff, did I eat a cookie or a donut every single day of my life? No, I did not. And yet people go on keto and they're like, oh, but it's keto. And they'll start eating the keto treat every day and they'll start eating all the almond flour. So I just think, like you said, it's a very slippery slope. And particularly if your goal is weight loss,
yes,
the more that you cut out those things, the better you're going to do as far as weight loss. Now, when you're in maintenance mode, hey, it's just like before. You might have a treat occasionally, and that's good. It's good for the soul. It's good for everything. But I don't know if you need to have one every day.
Well, the other thing it does, Cheryl, before we go to the previous content, one thing it does is it retrains your brain when you don't eat those things. It retrains your brain how normal eating is supposed to be. I think our brains have been so entrained that we need a cookie after a meal, that we need some side. That's why we eat the sides that we do. We need. And it's because culturally, that's what we have hardwired within us. But moving over to more animal-based foods, like, I don't miss sides. I don't miss desserts. If I want a little dark chocolate now and again, I'll have dark chocolate, but it's not a big deal and not very much. Like, used to, I'd have a big old hot fudge cake as a dessert. Now a dessert could be a little sliver of dark chocolate and I'm good. That's all I need or all I want.
Yeah, no, I think that's a excellent point, because as you know, I'm very focused on the psychological side, a lot of this stuff, just because of my training and degree. But you're right. And also it just trains your taste buds away from sweet foods and gives you more the ability to sense really subtle flavors in real food. Because when you're eating a lot of really salted, really, and I'm not saying salt is bad, but really salt and really sweetened, that sort of, they call it the bliss point in your brain.
Yes.
It really affects you on a dopamine level where it prolongs the addiction. So if you just cut it out completely, then you're more likely to have success long-term changing that pattern, as you said.
And the food manufacturers, they have perfected that bliss. What was it? Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss. If you've never read that book, it's really a fascinating read on this very thing about how the food industry has manipulated our taste buds and our brain and the way we respond to food. So, all right, so we're going to make a transition. I don't know how clunky it's going to be, but it is what it is. Thank you, Cheryl. We're going to now go to our other interview and finish the show. But guys, go check it out. Keep watching, and here we go.
Keto can be hard. Tabulating, measuring, baking, taking 3 months to perfect one recipe, and to mixed reviews.
Did something die in here? Oh, I think it moved.
And by that point, you give up your diet, find a dark corner, and stuff yourself with sugar, carbs, and regret.
This, isn't what it looks like.
Well, this is where Keto Chow saves the day. The easiest, tastiest, ketoist meal replacement on the market.
It's like ice cream melted in my mouth.
Yes, but melted ice cream with all the protein, nutrients, vitamins, and electrolytes your body needs.
Oh, that's cool.
And with 3 starter kits, each with restaurant tips, keto food guides, and a ton of flavors to try, your taste buds and your waistline will thank you.
Thank you.
So grab your starter kit today at jimmylovesketochow.com.
It's so easy.
Keto Chow. Make keto easy.
I'm fine with that.
It's why I'm not against the keto products. I'm not I'm not against them totally, but your goal is to get off of them. That if it's a transitionary and your grandma always made oatmeal cookies and now you have an oatmeal cookie that's keto, okay, eat that for a period of time, but then the goal is to get off of it. And I feel kind of like titrating down on the carbs slowly, titrating off of regular soda to diet soda. Like my original weight loss in 2004, I went on the Atkins diet and I went from 16 cans of Coca-Cola. Yeah, it was a lot. All the way, only 8 cans of diet soda. Now, was that a compromise that was good? You betcha. That was a big compromise because number one, I cut the consumption in half, but then cut down all that sugar I was eating. And then, of course, I titrated down from there and did it naturally. I didn't put any parameters. Well, I have to be off of them by, no, I didn't do that. And it helped me. And I think people, to help simplify keto, you kind of have to find what are those things that you can transition to that are better, knowing that the end game is real whole food, clean keto at the end. Put out there and they eat everything. They even eat each other's poop. So they eat everything. Out there and they like sniff it and walk away. I'm like, nope, hard no. Not even my chickens will eat it. So that's my little litmus test. But if they gobble it up, I'm like, oh, they like that. There's something in that they really like. So
I love that. I don't have any chickens, so I just have to go by the label.
Yeah.
But I think some of the most disappointing things are keto breads and keto.
Oh.
Anything that's going to try to be like bread.
Yeah.
Because people say to me sometimes, one of my friends, she has a health thing right now, and she's starting to try to do, at least for, I don't know if she'll do it long term, but she is doing lower carb. And she said, oh, I'm going to make this pot pie. Do you have a good recipe for crust? And I'm like, let me just be honest with you. If you're not trying to be keto, you're just being low carb. I'm like, please just make the regular crust, because I'm like, it'll be so disappointing. And it doesn't, it aligns with her goal. She's not gluten intolerant. She's not trying to be keto. She can go low carb. I'm like, just use a really nice, real biscuit, but just have one.
Yeah.
And enjoy that. And I think if you don't have a lot of these other health issues, that's something you can do, and it's an option. Now, if you are trying to be keto or you're trying to lose a ton of weight and you know this about yourself, like if you eat that one biscuit, you're going to go off the rails, or you're going to get a bunch of cravings, or you're going to spend a week or two getting back on track because you're going to be, deciding, okay, well, I had one, I can have this now, I can have that now. You got to know yourself mentally.
Well,
how you're going to react to those things.
There are like there was a Bisquick version that's low carb called Carb Quick. I remember when it was out, And I tried it, but then I looked at the ingredients and it's very soy based. So then you have to talk about the estrogenic effects of soy, and do you want all of that in your body? And a lot of these alternatives, look at the ingredients. If it's not kind of whole foods, if it's not something that you would like readily go buy those ingredients, the xanthan gum and all the other things that go into it. Not saying xanthan gum's bad. It's used in a lot of keto recipes, but like look at maltodextrin and all these little ingredients. Is that what you want to put in your body? And the honest answer is most people would say no. And is it better than the real thing? I mean, I guess that's subjective at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's all subjective for sure. But I mean, again, a lot of the substitute stuff I've had, I'm just disappointed. And because I don't have diabetes and because I don't have any gluten issues, seemingly on occasion, when the real thing that's got maybe like 5 ingredients instead of one of these bars that's got all these chemicals and chicory root and stuff that's going to give you gastrointestinal issues. I'd rather just have the real thing, but that's me.
Oh, the exception to that, what you just said, is if it has seed oils in it. I'm avoiding like the plague. We're learning
Me too.
much more about canola oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, all these oils that are highly inflammatory. And look up the work of Dr. Kate Shanahan. She's done the yeoman's work on this. That fat that you consume, those fats, they stay in your body for years and they don't get and they become part of your fat cells. And it's just like, no, I don't want any part of that. So even more so than carbohydrates, it's kind of shocking because I'm the low carb guy. I'm almost the low seed oil guy before I'm low carb, because I feel like they're a lot worse than we ever knew. And now we know a lot more. When you know better, you do better.
Yeah, and there's a huge amount, and I'm really happy about this. There's a huge amount of discussion about that right now in the keto, low carb, carnivore community. And anytime I get the opportunity to talk or speak with people now, I do always try to throw that in. It's like, if you take nothing else away from me, even if you never want to go low carb, if you never want to go keto, just quit eating the garbage oils. I think that is an amazing place to start, and it's an easy substitution for most people, unless they still have the mindset about saturated fat. Then there's more explanation needed, right?
Yes.
The soy is probably one of the worst. I think I shared this with you, that I had one of the things that in my past is I had these health issues, and I ended up having like 3 or 4 surgeries for these tumors that weren't cancerous, thankfully. But that was a big part of my wake-up call. And a big part of that when that happened was my doctor had said, and this is after having been vegetarian for 7 years, was don't have any soy ever, basically. And it made me think, like, was having these replacement vegetarian type products at the time part of the reason that I even got those tumors to start with, and the garbage oils like you're talking about. So I think, like you said, when you know better, you do better. And that is one ingredient I avoid like the plague. If there is any soy, it's like, no, thank you. I'm just not doing that.
I'm going to take a little bit of pride because I wrote this book in 2012, it came out in 2013. And in chapter 8, I wrote carbs and vegetable oils, the twin villains in your health. So
nice. So you're basically like, so why didn't somebody start listening to you then?
Well, and I have the paleo community to thank for that, because I was really active in the paleo world. I was talking about ketogenic diets, and I was kind of like more kind of paleo keto and trying to make keto a thing there. And then, so yeah, we wrote that book, and they were very influential on that. So I think that's the thing. We should pick up what the good parts are of any movement. Like right now, keto's on the way out, and kind of carnivore, maybe like real foods kind of the thing. So we just need to latch on to the good parts of any movement. I think even the vegan movement has good parts. They're about cutting out like the crap in your diet. Now, some of them are for substituting crap with their version of crap, but for the most part, why a vegan diet works so well is you're eliminating the processed junk. And that's why people do well. Is that what you noticed when you were kind of vegetarian?
Well, it was interesting because people would always say, that was, of course, the thing at the time where we thought we knew that was what was so healthy, right? Like all these things. But, people would always say to me, oh my gosh, you must feel so much better. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't really feel any different. And then as the years went on, I started feeling less and less good. And I don't know. It's interesting